Hello, thank you for joining our STEM academic strategy, setting yourself up for success presentation. We're going to be focusing on time management today. My name is Angelica, and I am a counselor in our Mesa STEM Academic Success Center. All the material for this presentation will be provided to you right under this video screen, so you'll be able to click on the link and you'll have the PowerPoint available to you. And also, if you have any questions about the material, please feel free to reach out to me. My office is located in M500 in our Mesa STEM Academic Success Center, and you can also reach out to Christine Reed, our full-time counselor in our Academic Success Center here in Mesa STEM. Alrighty, so we're going to be talking about time management. What is time management? Time management is about making your day purposeful. It requires that you take control of the time that you have, stay focused, productive, and balanced. Proper time management allows you to prioritize your tasks. So one thing that I like to keep in mind always is that time is money, okay? You want to make good use of your time and invest it into different activities and areas that are going to help you get closer to your goals. Steps to managing your time. Number one, set goals. Two, set reasonable expectations. So that also goes with make sure that your goals are reasonable. Three, develop a schedule, and we'll be talking a little bit more about this. Revisit and revise your schedule and plan as needed. Keep in mind, time management is an art. It's a skill that you develop over time. You get better at it over time. Sometimes you will have to change up your plan and what you have going on because you might determine that, hey, this isn't working for me. So then you make those changes and adjustments so that your time management strategies will work better for you. So key time management components. So there's different ways that you can manage your time. I encourage you to utilize all of these different strategies, at least to test them out and figure out what works best for you. But you definitely want to identify one or two strategies that work really well for you that you're going to implement throughout your life as a student. So one of these strategies is developing a weekly schedule, and we're going to go into more detail on this on our next slides. But this will help you determine how are you actually spending your time? What types of activities are you engaging in? What activities are positive activities that are helping you reach your goals? What activities are just taking up your time and energy and just consuming you? Do you have any time wasters? Are you wasting your time engaging in activities that are not helping you be productive and helping you reach those desired goals? With your weekly schedule, you can develop a specific hour-by-hour schedule for the entire week. And we'll talk more about this in our next slide. A monthly calendar is super straightforward. So using a monthly calendar as a time management strategy is something that I highly recommend. You're able to calendar in important deadlines. So whenever you have an exam that you need to study for, if you have assignments, projects, things that come up that you know about them ahead of time, like for the entire semester, you can utilize the monthly calendar, right? Where you're plugging these important deadlines in. If you have doctor appointments, dentist appointments, counseling appointments, or any other important appointments, you can plug in timelines, long-range plans. If you have social events that are coming up, academic milestones, assignment steps. So your monthly calendar is a good tool to use because you're able to get a view of your entire month, and you can see all of the different things that you have coming up. Daily to-do list, exactly what it sounds like. So it's a to-do list that you maintain every single day, where you prioritize your entire day by scheduling or putting down on your to-do list the most important task at the very top, and then following it with those other important tasks from highest priority to lowest priority. And like I mentioned, time management is an art. So the more that you engage in developing your time management skills and trying different strategies, the better you're going to be at it, the more productive your days are going to be, and the closer you are to going to get to reaching those desired goals. Okay, so developing a weekly schedule. So it's super important when you take a look at your entire week that you begin to think about the different activities that you engage in weekly. Okay, determine which activities are fixed. So those are activities that happen every single week at usually the same time, that you don't really change throughout the week. Some examples of fixed activities can be when you go to work, when you have breakfast in the morning, the times that you're in class, your study time, that shouldn't change, your commute time, those are all fixed activities. Then we also have variable activities, and these activities are activities that can move around, and that can look like when you run your errands, when you watch TV, when you socialize, you have a little bit more flexibility with those activities. So it's really important that you begin to look at everything that you're doing on a weekly basis and identify where you're going to plug them into your weekly schedule. Okay, and usually a weekly schedule will be mapped out, 7 days a week, and usually you start your day at 6 a.m. Even if you're not starting your day at 6 a.m., the weekly schedule is typically a worksheet that you'll use. You start plugging things in as early as 6 a.m. and usually the worksheet will have up to like 11 p.m. at night. And under this presentation, I will have a link to a worksheet that you can utilize to develop your weekly schedule. I've also seen students utilize Google Calendar for their weekly schedule, which is a super cool tool if you prefer to have something online. That's another tool that you can use, Google Calendar. To determine how much study time you're going to be plugging into your weekly schedule, because we do want you to plug in your study time, and keep in mind your study time should be fixed time that you don't move around, right? You're going to figure out what time during the week you're going to study for each of your courses. And when you are determining how much study time you're going to plug in, you want to use your study time formula, right? So if you are in a 3-credit STEM class, you should be allocating 3 hours per week for every credit, for every hour that you're in class. So for a 3-credit STEM class, you should be studying or allocating study time for up to 9 hours a week outside of class, okay? For a non-STEM class, if you're in a 3-credit non-STEM class, it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So you'll be dedicating 2 hours per week outside of class for every credit that you're enrolled in. So a 3-credit class, you would be wanting to dedicate 6 hours a week outside of class, okay? So when you take all of your courses, you want to, put together your formula and identify how many hours a week you're going to be studying. And then once you get this number, then you want to look at your weekly schedule and plug in the time throughout the week where you're going to be studying for these particular classes. And you want to keep in mind the time of day that you're plugging in the study time. Begin to identify when you are most productive. Is it early in the morning? Is it mid-afternoon? Is it after lunch? Is it later at night? And once you identify, okay, these are the times that I'm most productive, that is where you want to try to plug in your study time. If your schedule doesn't allow it, because maybe you're also in class during those times, then you work around that, right? But for the most part, try to plug in study time when you are the most alert throughout the day. Account for each hour of the day. Okay, you have 24 hours a day. You want to make sure that you're using that time wisely. And that you're also taking care of yourself, because you want to make sure that you're maintaining a really good balance across the board. You got to take care of you. You got to make sure that you're plugging in enough sleep time. You want to make sure that you're plugging in breakfast time, lunch time, dinner time, grooming. You've got to take care of yourself as well. And you're not just a student, right? You're not just an employee. You also have other personal commitments. So if there's any errands or chores or other commitments that you have to attend to, make sure that you are identifying where you can plug those times in as well. Assess and plan your workload and adjust as needed. Be super realistic when you are scheduling out your study time and your week, because you want it to be a schedule that you're going to be able to follow, a schedule that's going to be realistic for you to maintain and stick with. Also, schedule any extracurricular activities. You want to schedule in some free time, all right? We don't want to have a schedule where all you're doing is going to class and studying. You got to reward yourself a little bit, okay? So maybe an hour to a week where you're doing something for yourself, something that you enjoy. When the unexpected happens, because sometimes life happens, trade time, don't steal it. So for example, if you have something come up that you need to attend to immediately and it's during your study time, well, then just move that study time somewhere else, okay? Don't ignore that study time. So if you were scheduled to study for Calculus 1 from 1 to 3 on a Monday and something came up during that time, it's like a one-time thing, something came up, just move those 2 hours to a different time frame. Be realistic and schedule difficult tasks at a prime time for you. So like I had mentioned, if you function better in the morning, if you function better in the evening, keep those things in mind so that when you are scheduling those difficult tasks, that you're scheduling them during a time where you're more alert and awake. Golden breaks daily. You need to give yourself a break. So I would normally recommend for every 2 to 3 hours that you're studying, plug in a break and make sure to also plug in your lunch breaks. Build out your schedule, try it, make sure it works for you. If it doesn't work, tweak it. Once you have your desired weekly schedule laid out for the entire week, just stick to it and follow it. Usually, when you're following a weekly schedule, you'll want to refer back to that sheet or back to your Google Calendar, depending on what you're using. And usually for the first couple of weeks, you'll have to look back and remind yourself, okay, this time, this is what I'm supposed to be doing at this time. But after you've been following it for a couple of weeks, you'll be able to, for the most part, have that rhythm down and you won't have to remind yourself of what you're supposed to be doing. But make sure to refer back to it anytime you forget. So organize your time. Set realistic goals. There are only 24 hours in a day. If you have any spare time, you use it to review notes or to review class material. Study at the same time each day and make it a habit, okay? Divide study time into manageable chunks. By no means set aside a 6-hour study session. That is way too much time at once. If you do need to study for long periods of time, make sure that you're breaking it off in smaller chunks. And leave extra time at the end. Okay, you want some time to unwind at the end of the day. You want some time to just decompress and process everything that you've been diving into. So always make sure to leave some time at the end. So I had mentioned the study time formula, so I wanted to go over that with you. Here's a visual. So this is just an example. So we always say do not exceed the total of 70 to 75 hours a week. You want to make sure that you're maintaining a good balance. So here's an example for a student who is maybe having a part-time job working 20 hours a week. We recommend that you're enrolled full-time 12 hours a week. So if you are enrolled in a 12 credit load and it's all STEM courses, remember we talked about the 3-to-1 ratio where you're studying 3 hours outside of class for every credit that you're enrolled in. So you multiply this by 3, so that gives you 36. And then we take all of the hours that you are committed to either working, being at school, studying, we add them all up and we get 68 for this example. We want to make sure that this is where you're typically at and that you're not exceeding 70 to 75 hours a week to ensure that you are staying well balanced and not burning yourself out during any given semester, okay? So the biggest mistake students make when managing their time, they subscribe to I'll study in my free time. Your free time is your free time. Your study time should be scheduled in every single week, okay? Do not apply the 70-hour-a-week rule. So don't go over the 70-hour-a-week rule. You are going to burn yourself out. It might work for a week, but if you're doing 80 or 90 hours of studying, work, and class every week, you are going to set yourself up for failure and want to make sure that you're maintaining yourself well and staying academically healthy. Students often avoid evaluating their biggest time wasters and dealing with them, okay? So sometimes It might be things that distract you that are just wasting your time. So you want to make sure that if there's any activities that are not helping you stay productive, helping you reach your academic goals, your personal goals, that you eliminate those things from your weekly activities or tasks that you're engaging in. Also, sometimes students don't make good daily choices about their time and how they are choosing to spend it, okay? So having a weekly schedule will help you stay on track, help you stay accountable for your time, and help you stick to a plan. So as you begin to develop your weekly schedule, pay close attention to the activities or the times where you're scheduling things in, and if they're not working well for you, reevaluate them and reschedule as you need to. So here's a few academic time-saving tips. Have a plan for your study session and include time limits. Remember, you don't want to set aside a 6-hour chunk of time to study chemistry, right? Because that is way too much time. You want to make sure that you're building breaks in between. Know what you're going to study during your study sessions. Have goals, know what you're going to be focusing on for that particular study session so that your study session is purposeful. Pay attention to what gets you off track and tackle your time wasters. Turn off your phone and other disruptions. You want to ensure that you are staying active and alert during your study sessions on the material that you want to be focusing on, and avoid any distractions. Work offline when appropriate. So if you know that social media is going to be a distraction from you, avoid those temptations of checking your social networking accounts and emails during your study time. Organize your workspace before beginning a study session. Try to avoid multitasking when completing a task that requires brain fat power. Use a timer and don't rush through work. Start on assignments right away. So if you're assigned homework or if you're giving a project, try to work on it right after class, just so that you can begin to make some progress on it. Don't allow yourself to procrastinate, and learn to say no. Sometimes there's going to be requests that come in, or somebody's asking for a favor. It is okay to say no, okay? If it's something that you're not able to help with, or if it's just going to take time away from your priorities, it's okay. It's okay to say no. And sometimes it is hard to say no because, you don't want to let anybody down, but you got to keep in mind that you have priorities, you have goals that you're trying to achieve. Manage your life, time, energy, attention, attitude, and behavior, and try to monitor what produces success for you. Be in communication with your support team. We are here to support you and help you be successful. Stay connected with your counselors, your professor, the MESA STEM team, your peers. Reach out via email, calls, come in for a meeting or set up a virtual meeting. Don't be afraid to reach out. We are here to support you. Here's some MESA STEM support resources. So keep in mind that through our MESA STEM Academic Success Center, you are able to access STEM-focused counseling. We also offer STEM 100 and Engineering 100. If you're an engineering student, I highly encourage you to take Engineering 100 as Intro to Engineering. If you are any other major within our STEM areas, I encourage you to take STEM 100. It's a great way to explore different careers in STEM, learn about the different resources, learn about transfer, do a little bit of career exploration. Two great classes to take. Attend our academic success workshops. Remember, we have free tutoring, review sessions, and organized study groups, and you can find the schedules through our MESA STEM Academic Success Center page. You can also find information on our site in regards to scholarship and internship opportunities. Keep these things in mind. Apply to scholarships regularly. Begin to research internship opportunities early on. This will help you be very successful for now and in your future. And we also provide textbook loans. So if you're a MESA student, remember you have access to your STEM books via MESA. And if you have any questions about this presentation, please feel free to reach out to me by either emailing me or scheduling a counseling appointment. And I am available in our MESA STEM Academic Success Center in M500. Thanks for joining.